I think we need to stop the third world coming to Britain. We cannot take any more of it, can we? We have simply had enough.
36 storefronts left shattered. Violent crime rates rose by 31%. Up to 1,000 illegals landing by boat in a single day. Birmingham streets were hit with fireworks moments after Star's mass replacement blueprint was exposed online. The government dismissed it as baseless conspiracology. The protesters did not care. At 7:15 p.m., emergency calls confirmed the first looted shops. At 7:43 p.m., radios crackled with a disturbing message. Sectors 8, 9, and 13 are overrun. We need urgent backup platoon. By 8 o'clock sharp, crowds were surrounding police vans, chanting, "Stop the boats," and demanding Star's instant removal. These weren't holiday celebrations. This was a complete war zone. The reason? Migrant hotels across Britain are overflowing at the seams. £8 million a day is being sucked from the taxpayer to keep them running. Machete attacks have exploded by over 320% comparing to 2000. But the real blow to Star came right after. Nigel Farage revealed what he calls the massive replacement blueprint. Another one, 6 million migrants are projected to arrive. And even the government admits there is no place to put them. Now watch the careful sleight of hand. Karma announces a huge housing initiative to build 1.5 million brand new homes. Farage puts together the dots. The government slaps a crushing death tax on family farms. When a father dies, his son is compelled to find £300,000 while earning 10 times less. And here is the final endgame. Critics warn the state will confiscate thousands of acres of bankrupt farmland and bury them under concrete to build 12 new cities for the new arrivals. Star's 6-hour silence was the ultimate nail in the coffin. By 8:40 p.m., the crowd stormed the police lines, beating shields with shards of glass. Two platoons were made to retreat. Migrant centers and hotels were hastily reinforced with extra barricades to hold back what the media calls far-right extremists. But at 9:10, the dam collapsed. Someone leaked horrifying police body cam footage. That TikTok video hit 8.66 million views in just 2 hours. The comments section spoke it all. This is Britain's last chance. Others went further, branding the officers as traitors, no better than Star himself. In 3 hours, 41 arrests were made and 16 vans were wrecked. The opposition demolished Starmer with the facts. Rural communities make up over 17% of Britain's population. These are people who traditionally reject labor. Starmer, visibly rattled, dismissed the migrant import plan as complete nonsense. But the accusations didn't end there. English families average one child, maybe two. But for hundreds of thousands of new arrivals from Africa and the Middle East, the average is 3 to 7 per family. The House of Commons erupted into uproar. Farage stood firm. These people get hotels, housing, and welfare today. In a few years, they get passports and then they support labor. And then came the disclosure that plunged the streets into absolute hell. A pre-election video of Keir Starmer resurfaced, featuring a single shocking sentence. "I need 10 years to realize all my plans in government." Suddenly, for the protesters in Parliament Square, it all clicked. It takes 5 years for a new arrival to obtain a passport. By that exact moment, Starmer will be running for his second term. Waves of so-called radical groups immediately coined a new phrase, an alien army. They said that an imported electorate would be guaranteed to give 100% of their votes to Star. The crowds became irresistible. They didn't care about Star's threats of prison or his desperate calls for tolerance and an immediate end to disorder. The mob setting fire to hotels are not just brainless rioters, and they are not reacting to a single government policy. They are witnessing the unfolding of a government blueprint designed to radically alter the demographic makeup of the nation. Farmers are not losing their land by chance. They are losing it by intent. A 20% inheritance tax on farmers ensures that when a father passes away, the son is forced to sell the family heritage to pay a debt he can never afford. According to critics, that seized territory, rebranded as the Grey Belt, is already set aside for the 12 new cities Starmer plans to construct. Those 1.5 million new homes are not intended for the British working class on waiting lists. They are necessary to house the 1.6 million new asylum seekers the opposition warns are arriving. It is a perfect cold cycle. This is what Nigel Farage cautioned about. Bankrupt the rural population, acquire the land, build the accommodation, and resettle the overflow. Meanwhile, the daily cost of housing illegal arrivals has hit £8 million. A bill paid by the very people being displaced. Veterans are sleeping in freezing doorways, while migrants are kept in warm comfort of 4-star hotels. Pensioners are switching off their gas while asylum centers run at full capacity. Security has fallen apart alongside the economy. Machete attacks have hit historic highs. Grooming gangs have re-emerged to the streets with impunity. and women in major cities are afraid to leave their homes after dark. This is not mere incompetence. It is a deliberate replacement. Opposition warned Starmer's housing initiative is the framework for a new electorate. He gives them homes, he gives them handouts, and in 5 years he gives them passports just in time for the upcoming election. Tonight proved the tipping point. When a government prioritizes the comfort of non-citizens over the existence of its own people, order dissolves. The chaos erupting across the country is the noise of a betrayed public realizing their taxes are funding their own erasure. Thousands of protesters were not driven by race or religion. They were protesting against Starmer's betrayal of his own people, against the madness of tax-paying citizens sponsoring their own destruction. And the response? Fathers, mothers, and the working class were quickly branded far-right by the media within hours. When a government prioritizes the comfort of non-citizens over the survival of its own people, it doesn't earn loyalty, it breeds rebellion. The 1,000 daily arrivals flooding into military bases came through borders Starmer won't secure. The demographic shift that sparked tonight's chaos intensified under policies Starmer refuses to reverse. And the economic strangulation of the working class is the direct outcome of a budget Starmer refuses to amend. Britain isn't being governed, Britain is being overtaken while it pays the bill. For months, opposition researchers have silently assembled the pieces of this demographic puzzle. This housing crisis is not random. It is constructed. Policy documents reveal the same mechanism repeating itself like machinery. The same inheritance tax meant to crush family farms. The same reason zoning laws convert agricultural land into the so-called gray belt. The same procurement contracts for 12 new cities popping up where crops used to grow. And the same plan to fill them not with locals, but with the 1.6 million asylum seekers the Home Office knows are en route. These are not homes for local families. These are state-backed settlements for a new population imported to secure a political future. And the government knows it. They have the census data. They have the intake figures. They have the warnings. But under K-Star, every one of those warnings gets filed under the same label necessary for growth. That is how we reach this economic madness. A British farmer working the land, taxed, bankrupt, evicted forcibly. A British pensioner freezing in winter, denied fuel assistance. But illegal entrants arriving on boats, fully funded accommodation, £8 million a day in hotel costs. No questions posed. The public sees this financial betrayal. The public feels this upheaval. And tonight, the public snapped under it. Because when a nation realizes its own treasury is funding its replacement, patience evaporates faster than the budget. Tonight wasn't just a riot. It was a rebuke. Multiple sources from affected boroughs confirm the same terrified truth. Police have effectively surrendered control of specific zones after dark. Grooming gangs operate with renewed boldness. Machete attacks have become background threats in major cities, creating areas where women fear to tread and police fear to patrol. This is the operational result of a government that views its own population as an obstruction. They didn't lack resources to help veterans. They lacked the determination. Starmer built his strategy on one assumption: a dependent population is a loyal vote. But that calculation has turned into a disaster. He needs 10 years to lock in this demographic shift. The public is telling him tonight he might not last 10 months. Every decision Starmer makes on housing is filtered through one objective: how do we accommodate the new demographics we are importing? Not how do we support the British families we are failing? And so the boats keep coming, the hotels keep filling. Farmers are pushed off their land to make way for the new cities. And Britain becomes unrecognizable with each policy change. He calls it a housing initiative. The critics call it a population swap. The fear isn't just in the rural communities, it's in the towns. Tonight, British citizens faced an uncomfortable reality. The state will tax you to destitution, but it will subsidize them to luxury. The law will seize your inheritance, but it will grant them forgiveness. Your history is being rewritten, but their future is fully covered. Betrayal divides a country faster than hardship. And tonight, the betrayal wasn't hidden in fine print. It was burning on the high streets. This is how a social contract shatters. Not through external pressure, but through internal betrayal. When the chaos spread, every newsroom waited for a condemnation of the open border policy. That statement never appeared. Instead, officials issued a watered-down rebuttal, one that insiders described as damage control disguised as management. Blame the disinformation. Ignore the facts. Deny the replacement scheme, disinformation. That is the code word now used to describe anyone pointing out that military bases are full and farm owners are insolvent. White didn't freeze because it was surprised. It froze because admitting the scale of the crisis would mean admitting the plan collapsed. Multiple insiders from the Treasury leaked the same alarm. Every budget allocation is now strained by the soaring cost of migrant support. It doesn't matter if veterans are roofless. It doesn't matter if the NHS is breaking or if schools are overwhelmed by non-English students. Whittle's priority is not national security, it is demographic transition. Starr's team has become so committed to this long-term electoral manipulation that they would rather let cities burn than admit the borders need to shut. Britain is the first country in history to finance its own settlement, not because it was conquered, but because the government fears losing a future voting bloc more than it fears a present-day uprising. The smoke drifting over Britain is not just from pyrotechnics. It is the physical manifestation of a broken social agreement. These aren't just angry crowds. They are the inevitable result of a government that has ceased to heed. At 9:15 p.m., the perimeter around the central station was breached, not by random looters, but by a focused surge of demonstrators who feel they have nothing left to sacrifice. Police commanders are reportedly holding back, terrified that a single misstep will ignite a powder keg that is already smoldering. Inside the corridors of power, the silence is deafening, broken only by the frantic drafting of press releases that no one believes. They talk about misinformation while rural communities see their livelihoods drafted into legislative records. A farmer watching his land being designated for seizure doesn't need a conspiracy theory to know he is being pushed aside. He just needs to read the new tax regulations. The proposal to turn productive fields into the gray belt for new housing estates has struck a chord deeper than any previous policy. It suggests a fundamental reshaping of the landscape where food security is traded for urban expansion. And the anger on the streets tonight is fueled by the suspicion that these new developments are not being built for the families currently struggling to afford their mortgages. When peaceful rural protests were planned last month, warnings were issued about disruption and public safety. This double standard is what drives the rage. If you block a road to save your farm, you face immediate legal action. The public is watching live streams of police vans reversing from the mob. They see officers standing down while property is demolished. It sends a clear signal. Authority is now selective. Starr's strategy of waiting it out is not de-escalating the situation. It is confirming the public's worst apprehensions. A leader who disappears when the capital is burning is not administering. He is hiding. The 10-year timeline he requested for his national renewal now sounds less like a promise and more like a warning to those watching their communities change overnight. Every hour that passes without a decisive command from Downing Street emboldens the turmoil. The coordination we are seeing on the ground, the organized movements, the supply of fireworks, the targeting of infrastructure suggests this is not a temporary uproar. It is a structural rebellion against the new order. Trust is a fragile asset, and tonight the government is bankrupt. When the law applies differently depending on who you are or what cause you represent, the system fails. The fires will eventually be put out, but the realization that the state is no longer impartial will remain. This isn't just about immigration numbers anymore. It is about the fairness of the entire British system. The people demanding justice is